And all right, here we go, Q. In five, four, three, two, and one. What is up, everybody? Thank you for joining us here on the Welcome Up Podcast. I'm your host, Famously Garnet, and I'm joined by my co-host Q.
Hey y'all, what it do? What it do?
And in today's episode, well, it has been a hell of a day for Gamecock Athletics. A wild last couple days for South Carolina as a whole. Let's go ahead and shout out Irmo Little League High School, currently in the Little League World Series right now, tied up at 1 against Nevada. Let's hope they can pull it out. But what a game last night by the hometown team, pulling it out last night in extra innings, winning 7-6, pulling 6 runs up, and that was just amazing. An amazing comeback.
I mean, I gotta be real with you. And I'm watching them play right now, and you know they are a team. Um, I want to give a shout out to number 8. Number 8, who, bro, I took one quick look at him and I was like, dude, did my cousin like shrink a couple inches and pull up to Williamsport? Because people who know my cousin know what I mean by that. And I looked and his poise to get the tying run in the ninth inning because it could have been over. It could have really been over. But that cat, my God, FG, he was so poised. Like for you to have, I want to say it was 2-2. He had 2 outs, and that man pulled a walk to bring the winning run in was immaculate. And
Yeah,
and
kid
then
worked that count really well.
yeah, the kid worked it. He worked it because I want to say he had after the 2-2 count, the kid had throw 6 more pitches. I want to say
It was a
um
battle. It was a battle.
it was yeah 6 more pitches after the 2-2 count. I think no 5 more pitches, 3 foul balls and 2 balls. And the kid was and the one that was the beauty that he took was the first ball he took when it was eye level and you could tell he was ready to swing because he was trying with all his might just to save this team and he held off. So I props to number 8, man. Props to that kid. That kid is a baller. He didn't flinch. He got to first. They got that run across. Then they were down 5 runs. That was an ugly inning. It was absolutely putrid inning. And my God, for you to be able to come all the way back and the way you came back was immaculate. That was one of the
It
best Little
was
League World Series games I've ever seen in my entire life.
it was impressive, and for South Carolina to do that, Irmo, South Carolina, like I said again, shout out to the home squad and doing that. It's just
Oh, for
amazing,
sure,
man. And
for sure.
it's just it's it brings back memories too when you and I were on the team, man. Like
Yeah,
it's
and
when we
that's
played
I
ball,
want
it's
to shout out
crazy.
to the alumni of that, man.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you have like a Matthew Becker, CJ
Hmm.
Edwards, a lot of people don't know about CJ
That's true.
Edwards.
That's true.
Another one
CJ
that
did.
we played
Yep.
with, bro.
Yep.
As a
He
kid,
came up
we
in that
played
league.
with.
He did.
He came up in that league. There's a lot of guys that came up in this little league that these kids don't understand what they're representing, bro. Because none of us made it here. None of us
No.
were here.
No,
And
no,
so
no, not at all.
for them to get to this point, man, I can't emphasize it enough. Shout out to those kids, man. I don't care what the end result is of this. That game, first off, my boy number 8, he probably will never have to pay for rushes for another Lizards Thicket, nothing in Columbia ever again. That kid came. He mounted a comeback alone. He helped trigger a comeback for the ages.
He did.
and and they're tied 1-1 right now, top of the third, 1 out, 2 on right now for Nevada. But those kids, you can never count them out, man. You could, because the crazy part about the game within itself, I would like to say the game within itself, you never knew what was going to happen when it came to those kids,
No,
man. I
no,
mean that with my whole heart. You never knew what you were going to get when it came to those kids, man.
no,
I just
no,
felt like
you
they weren't
didn't.
out. Like no matter what the situation was, I just felt like they weren't out. They just had them out. They did exactly what they needed. You get a couple runs here, you get a couple runs there. Getting three, I was it. I think it was three. Yeah, there was 6-4 with no outs.
Right.
That's huge.
It
That
is. It
that
is.
that alone was huge
It is. So kudos to the Irmo Little League team,
for
man, to
sure.
doing what they're doing. So, Q, big day for South Carolina athletics. They officially announced the board of trustees. It hopped on the thing today saying, "Hey, we're going ahead and we're moving away. We're announcing an apparel deal." And this was announced this morning. It wasn't officially said with Nike, but then David Kloniger of Post and Courier broke the news this morning or this mid afternoon, I guess, saying, "Hey, South Carolina's going Nike." Q, we've kind of been on this Nike train for a while. We knew that that's where the university was going with it, right? And just a huge thing there, man. And you finally get Nike, and we've had these conversations, man. We've had about Dawn Staley, what she wanted, and bring in Donati and what he was going after, and you finally got it. You finally got it, and it's going to be announced tomorrow with the board of trustees.
I've been telling guys this for a long time. A long time. This is coming. I've been talking about this for years. I've been talking about this for years that this was coming. It had already been in the works for a very long time. A very long time. We knew for a fact that Nike was coming. And what needed to happen with this was you had to make sure Under Armour wasn't going to do anything from that. And we got that. I guess what happened was they negotiated it. They they talked through it and they realized Under Armour was not going to make the next move, and that's fine. That was well and good. I was fine with that. I am a okay with that situation. I had a feeling from what I was told it was one of those situations where they 110% were not going back to Under Armour. This deal had been started, so since now that it's broke, which uh, I think it kind of broke a little prematurely, but that's neither here nor there. Now that it has happened and now that the information has broke, I want to give y'all a breakdown of how long I've actually been talking about this. So when word had got out about Under Armour's the issue with Under Armour, the issue with South Carolina was probably when you had the tiers when it comes to Under Armour, Maryland was always top just because the person over Under Armour is a Maryland grad.
Correct.
But when you had the teams that were in Under Armour, you had UCLA, you had Auburn, you have Notre Dame, and Maryland were the teams that they really focused heavy on when it came to apparel. And South Carolina was kind of treated like a stepchild to an extent.
They were.
And
Yeah.
so what the university realized with that was as we were ascending, Under Armour really still was not doing what they needed to do. They did a little bit under Spurrier, but it wasn't to the effect of what they needed to do. Of what you guys are seeing today was not what was going on before.
Right.
And that's just the name of the game.
And
Well, once
yeah.
once UCLA made the decision, they were leaving because UCLA made that decision. They were leaving like around COVID.
Right.
Sa- Under Armour tried to turn to South Carolina and say, "Hey, we're gonna up this," because if you notice, that's when the real shift happens. Was around that 2021 situation was when Under Armour really started trying to focus on South Carolina. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's because UCLA and Auburn were already out the door.
Mm-hmm.
You can go check this. This is stuff you can check. They were already at the door. Well, South Carolina was already in negotiations, and Nike had already reached out to South Carolina at this point, and they were already wanting to bring South Carolina on board. I know Adidas was interested as well, but I think I think there was rumors. It wasn't Tennessee. Tennessee just happened to be a team that does go back to Adidas, but there was another team I can't remember off the top of my head that Adidas was also looking at as well. Reebok was not big at this time. New Balance was not big at this time, and Puma. They were all not like names that you're gonna go to for this situation.
Right.
Nike was presenting like, hey, we want to put y'all up there as a team, and recruiting plays a role in this too.
It does.
So we've lost recruits. I hate to be that person, but we have lost recruits mainly in basketball when it came to apparel and brand being a factor. Now, a lot of people are like, well, Steph Curry's, Under Armour. Well, that's well and good, but when it comes to basketball, we gotta call a spade a spade. Nike,
The fact that matters
Adidas was
though
GOAT.
with Steph Curry though, that's serious money. That is serious money involved to Steph Curry. Okay. That's not money to the university. That's not the University of Steph Curry, right? That's not Davidson did not. He did. University Davidson was with Under Armour that I can remember back then. So,
Yeah,
but
were
I'll
they
tell you
even
this
with
to
Under
you.
Armour?
I have no
Oh,
idea.
I was gonna
Actually,
say,
I have no idea.
are they have never been with Under Armour, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't believe so.
Yeah,
I mean, especially back then,
yeah.
because Under Armour back then when Steph Curry was playing ball, which was that 06, 09, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm-hmm.
They weren't looking at schools like that. They were looking at the top Power 5 schools, whoever they can pull out of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this about Under Armour, a lot of people, you talk about, with UA and the things that were going on with them and how they treated South Carolina. That can't be said enough because when talking to former athletes, former players, people that I knew that went to school at Carolina during the 11-win seasons, and they'll tell you to this day, by the way, the stuff that they wore was trash. The cleats, everything else that they had to wear was trash from Under Armour. It felt like second grade, like second-handed stuff. Like it was like brought in from another school. Like off the Dick's Sporting Goods like store, like right off the damn shelves.
We would have been better off with Russell Athletic.
I mean, honestly, the way some of that stuff was made, it would not. I mean, I can't go against that. If it wasn't for the money that the university got out of this,
Yeah, the money was
but
huge. The money
but
played
good,
a huge role
yeah,
for
yeah,
us
but
re-signing because
good.
I don't think we were going to re-sign at that point. If I'm not mistaken, we were not going to re-sign at that point in 2016. If I'm remembering my dates correctly, we were thinking about not re-signing. At that point, I want to say Under Armour got a spike because there were some group of 5 schools that were actually doing good that had Under Armour on. So they had a good little spike in revenue. They upped us, and I mean we end up being there.
Mm-hmm.
But I am glad we're getting out of it. Let me say that I am glad. I mean, yeah, I wear Under Armour today, but boy,
Right.
that first football game in 26, boy, you best believe I'm gonna have that Nike check mark on
Oh
against
yeah,
Miami.
and
I'm gonna have that Nike check
yeah,
mark on me.
yeah, yeah. Hey, look, I will say this about Under Armour: as far as like the polos go, they fit very well. They last for the most part until they went to that whole sticker adhesive BS of the logo. Everything was fine. They stitched everything. Everything looked good. Then they started cutting cost on the fan stuff. That's expected. That always comes. As prices get higher, the companies try to cut costs. They find ways to cut costs. They try to make things cheaper. And of course, that's what happened with UA. However, like I said, our thing that we need to be worried about as fans is our players' safety. And I'm telling you right now, the cleats that our guys had to wear was absolute garbage. And people are going to bring up the whole Zion Williamson shoe busting situation. Guys, that was a one-time thing that I can remember. And by the way, Zion is in college, he was a freak. I mean, he was a defensive tackle playing basketball in a weird way, man. Like he was a monster. That's a one-off. That doesn't happen often. But what was happening often was non-contact injuries in those UA cleats, whether it been at South Carolina, Under Armour, some of these other schools.
That's true.
So I'm just saying, man, like from what I know about UA, this is great.
I'm with it.
And the fans need to understand the way that maybe it's not what they're doing to South Carolina lately, but what they've done in the past.
It's over with.
And everybody's leaving UA. This is not an anomaly. Everybody's leaving. It's not just South Carolina. UCLA has already left. Auburn's already left, like you said. Why is South Carolina sticking around?
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. What's the point?
There's no
of sticking
point.
around? There's no point.
So tomorrow will be interesting, Q. We'll find more about what happens with the Nike deal. We'll find out, hopefully get some kind of idea money-wise and some kind of structure. We should have something, I'm sure. So kudos to Jeremiah Donati for ultimately getting this done. Kudos to him. Of course, Dawn Staley, Lamont Paris, and behind the scenes, all of them working together. I know all that happened, so that's no surprise there. So it'll be officially announced tomorrow, and when it does, we'll talk about it Monday. It's quite simple. Q, moving on to the next subject. 9-game SEC schedule. The SEC announced today. Greg Sankey announced today that the SEC is moving to a 9-game SEC schedule. Just after about 24 hours ago, maybe a little over that, the playoff committee announced that they're taking a look at schedules, the strength of schedules, a little bit more than what they've done in the past. So my thing, Q, if South Carolina, right, they have another 9-3 season, right, in 2026 or something along those lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to move a team like, I don't know, a Clemson or Indiana or somebody that goes 11-1, 11-2, or 10-2 that have no strength of schedule, play absolutely nobody? What is that? Is that going to bounce them out? Is that going to bounce them out of the position? Now, normally Clemson will probably win the ACC again because they absolutely play nobody. The ACC is absolute dog trash.
I think the thing that you're gonna have to look at when it comes to these schedules is the only reason the SEC would ever move to 9 games is if strength of schedule was going to be a factor in the situation. If it wasn't going to be a factor in the situation, we weren't going to move to 9 games. It was pretty apparent that's exactly what was going to happen. Greg Sankey said as much at SEC Media Day that we knew it was on the table. We knew what was going to happen behind the scenes. This is where the rubber kind of meets the road, and fans are going to have to take this L. With it going to 9 games now in the SEC, your issue now becomes where do you cut your game out? This next year is going to be fine, which I was telling folks 110 times. We're not losing the Miami and Clemson game next year. It's going to be the Miami game. It's going to be Townsend, and it's going to be Clemson.
Right.
I look ahead to 2027. You got Miami, App State, Furman, and Clemson. I think it's something along those lines.
Sounds about right.
Do we drop Miami and we just keep App State? What do those things look like when you're going through and you're trying to figure out what these schedules look like? Because regardless, Clemson's going to stay.
Right.
No matter what the circumstances are, Clemson is staying for good.
Sure.
So now you got to figure out on your end or on, when it comes to scheduling in, how the rest of that goes, because ACC's got to go to 9 games as well.
Yeah, they have to.
I don't know if the Big 12 does 9 games, but they'll have to go to 9 games as well. And you have the revamped Pac-12, but Pac-12 is still not going to be a Power 5, honestly.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm intrigued. I feel like it's something I'm going to watch. I feel like it's something that means something. But I want to know what everybody's going to cry about when this 9-game schedule comes out. And the SEC still has 6 teams in the playoffs, and they expand that bad boy to 16 teams.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what everybody's going to cry about, because at this point, they expand to 16 teams. You're going to get 6 from the SEC. You're going to get 6 from the Big 10.
Yeah. Yeah, you will. Question for one of our listeners, Brad. Brad tweets. He had something out saying about Miami. Let's say, for example, we cancel that 27 meeting, right? We cancel that 27 meeting with Miami. Is Miami going to cancel that 26 meeting with us next year?
No. Miami needs it on their schedule, especially if they're going strength of schedule. Miami needs it on their schedule more than we need it.
Yeah, I can see that.
They're not going to cancel that. Not that close to time to play.
Yeah,
They're not
I
going to
could.
do it. It's not something. Especially when we're not doing it until the 20 till that season, it doesn't affect them because we already have 3 games, so it will literally just be a 12-game schedule. We will just have
Right,
a rough schedule that 2026, quote unquote.
right.
But will it be typical of us playing 2 power 4s? No, that won't be typical. Well, it may if they do the Big Ten SEC challenge, it may. I can
That's
see
true.
that happening. I do think that's possible. So I mean, we just gotta be on the lookout. It'll be 3 permanent opponents and then 6 rotational ones. I've heard from what I've heard, I believe it's gonna be a Missouri or a Kentucky. Um,
Hmm.
that are possible 2 opponents that we have to really look out for. Missouri and Kentucky are 2 that we're gonna have to look out for. I've heard it's a strong chance we don't have Vandy as well
Right.
as a permanent opponent. I don't believe so. I think that's going to be left to Tennessee. I think Kentucky's going to end up having them, and then you kind of have a toss up for a couple people that could possibly get them. So
Yeah.
I don't foresee that being an opponent. But if we go Missouri, Kentucky, and Vandy, I'll sign up every day and twice on Sunday for that, and just go from there. I do
Right.
think Kentucky's. I do think after this year, Kentucky's program is going to be in the gutter.
Yeah.
I do. I do personally believe Kentucky's program is going to be in the gutter. I am. I am curious how Vandy's going to bounce back after this year when Pobby's gone. I want to see what Missouri's going to do, especially with this Eli situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I have a lot of questions, but the schedule. I mean, cool, 9 games. That's fine. That's money.
All
You're
right. Yeah.
talking money at this point.
No. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not having a lot more of these giveaway money games, but you're trying to put a true criteria together that I'm okay with. You're putting a true criteria together when it comes to these games. They're having some meaning now. Now you have a lot of games that have meaning. I don't think it has anything to do. A lot of Big Ten people feel like it has something to do with them. No, because Indiana had a god awful schedule. They didn't play anyone at the top half. Your bottom
Right.
half of the Big Ten is awful. To
It
say
is.
like the very least, that is an awful bottom half of the Big Ten.
Right.
God awful. It should be illegal how bad that Big Ten is at the bottom. Freaking illegal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel the way I feel about that, but I also have true strong feelings about the ACC going 9 games. There's not enough quality opponents in the ACC for y'all to go 9 games.
Mm-hmm.
That's another issue I have. Quality of opponents. The
Yeah.
Big 12, same thing. Pac 12, you know for a fact, y'all got nothing. Zippo. So I struggle with it. So we'll just have to see.
I swear, man. Like this is what I think is going to happen, and I've said it many, many times. I think at some point it's going to move to an NFC AFC like thing. I just a format like that. I just you don't.
But who
I
gets
don't
left out?
understand how you
Because
could.
it's not gonna. Who gets left out? Who gets left out? That's my
Uh,
biggest question to you. Who gets left out?
there's going to be some
Like,
teams that will.
I don't. I think Florida State and Clemson kind of screwed themselves over. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. The way they handle the situation, I can see it be a lot of screwing over. I don't know what's gonna happen with them. Does
Well,
Notre Dame? You also got to look. Does Notre Dame have to come into a conference? I feel like it's starting to
nah.
be forced that way.
Maybe. I don't think they're going to give it that money though, man. I don't see them giving up
Do
that
whatever
NBC money.
you can. They're gonna figure out that the money's gonna be more over on the other side, so they're gonna have to figure something out.
Maybe. I'll say this though. With the SEC going to 9 games, does this feel like almost this is a thing for them to get away from the NCAA?
Oh, for sure. It's progressively going. I think within the next 5 years we'll be gone.
I don't even know if it's gonna be quite 5, man. I think it may be like 3 or 3. Honestly, I
But I
just
think it's
from
just
the
gonna be football. I don't think basketball is gonna be a
right.
problem. I don't
No,
think
right, right,
football
right,
and other
right,
leagues
right.
will be a problem. But I do think football will be the one that leaves.
Well, I mean, the NCAA has the way they've handled college football the last decade has been a travesty, an absolute joke.
Well, I mean, even though we would leave, we still have to have some figure out of the governing of how we're gonna do this. So it's
Sure,
just, I mean, it's a lot to figure out, but we're gonna have to figure it out, no matter how
no,
we look at it.
they're already in talks. I mean, like I said, these talks were happening in Destin this past winter, so these
But
things are happening. These are moving pieces. So, anyways, Q. Before we get into a little bit of recruiting, let's go ahead and take this break real quick and get a word from our sponsors. Let's go ahead and get in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, Q. So let's take it into recruiting. And, well, South Carolina on Thursday, well, they lost a player. They lost a player for the 26 class. That is Kamari Blair, offensive lineman Kamari Blair, 4-star out of Tennessee. Q, you were pretty big on that one, committing from the old home state of Tennessee. And Q, well, didn't stick.
so I feel like this. We won the battle. This is what ends up happening. Tennessee has lost out on a lot of guys that they thought they were going to have.
Sure.
Blair was not a big deal until they lost out on the running back to Michigan. They're not getting keys from LSU. They're not being able to flip keys. Um, their quarterback is in a flux too. I'm hearing he might visit places. They took some of that money and they said, "Hey, can you stay in state?" I said it before. Him passing Knoxville to come to Columbia is wild. We won
Yes.
it at that time, but it is what it is. And either way, with that situation, I hate we lost him. I'm not gonna sit here and flex like I'm cool with us losing him. But we also remember I really didn't count him until he came into the fold.
Right.
Because I didn't know what was gonna happen with him. I thought we had a good shot. I had heard we had a good shot. But once he committed, it was like, okay, well, he's here. All right. Boom. Let's ride. But I don't think it stings as much because of what's coming up. That's why I don't think it stings as much.
Mm-hmm.
And also, he plays tackle. Very good player.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to remember, once again, Casey Henry has 2 more years. Tree has 3 more years. Josiah has 2 years, but he'll probably play only 1 more. Shiver still has 3 years. You've got some guys. You got some guys. So I would definitely be. I'm okay. Good get for Tennessee. I'm not gonna sit there and say it's not. It's a good get for them, but
Right.
am I concerned? No. I mean, I feel like Tennessee knew they needed a spark, but that's not gonna change the fact that they're not gonna get those guys. That's not gonna change the fact they don't have the ability to do what they need to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it was a loss, but we move.
Yeah, we do. We do move on. And, well, Q, moving on into Friday for 5-star offensive lineman Darius Gray. 5-star Darius Gray. And look, South Carolina has felt confident from the get go on this kid and even deep into his recruitment. And there's reasons why. Like I said, been here, been to South Carolina the most times. The relationships, he's talked about that. He said how much that matters. And we've heard when relationships matter, they truly do matter. And we've heard those same comments come from guys like Dylan Stewart, right? Nick Harbor, 5-star guys like Josiah Thompson, We're talking strictly 5-star guys right now that South Carolina has landed under Shane Beamer. And here we go. Here we go again. Darius Gray announces tomorrow, or today if you're listening to Welcome On Podcast on Apple and Spotify on the Believe Network. He's ranked as one of the top 25 players in the country, 5-star at his position, an absolute baller, two-sport guy, plays basketball. Would only play football at Carolina, I'm sure, but he's athletic, right? Very athletic. How are we feeling?
I agree. I feel good. I mean, all my sources I've talked to, everybody said, "Hey, I see him going to South Carolina." It's the closest one to his home that he has on his list. It is the most comforting place. He feels the most comfort. He has the best relationships there. A lot of the intrigue with LSU is the league factor, but I mean, I got to be completely honest with you. We're starting to put some guys in the league now. So when you're thinking about it and you're looking at it, you got some guys about to go to the league ourselves. I mean, you got Josiah Thompson that's about to head there. You have the Boaz Stanleys that'll end up being there. You have Tree Babalade Tro. You got guys that will be league bound on Sundays. So you're gonna start having those kind of guys, be talked about and be on teams. So you just got to keep battling, keep fighting, and keep doing what we got to do.
You do. I'll tell you this, Q. Spoke with my good LSU source right out of Baton Rouge today, and he said South Carolina's going to be the pick. He's like, everything that's Gamecocks have done in this recruitment has been where it needs to be. I mean, from the beginning to end to where they are now. It's just they've done everything they've needed to. So 7:00 tomorrow night, 247 is going to stream the commitment over there on 247. So obviously you can hop over there on the YouTube channel for 247. The buzz is crowing right now, to put it that way. So you got to feel good, man. You got to feel good if you're the Gamecocks and you ultimately land Darius Gray. You lose Kamari Blair, but you land Darius Gray. That's a win, man. That's a huge win. Massive. So all eyes will be on 247 Sports tomorrow at 7:00 on their YouTube channel, 247 Sports. So make sure that you get over there. So we move on, man. We move on. Q, a couple things from practice that Shane Beamer has made apparent that I really did not want to hear. But George Wilson, as much as we bragged about him in the last episode, he's going to be out for a little while. We don't know how much time, but he's going to be out for a few weeks at least. We don't, like I said, we have no idea timetable on that. A guy's really impressed in the camp though, Q. A lot of guys been really impressing. Kind of moving to that second string in that rotation. Not exactly the best position that you want to lose, right? At the edge position, I do feel like we do have some depth there. We still have some good guys, but it's difficult. Yeah, it's a difficult one.
You took a shot at your depth, especially with Tim and Jaylen Brown being out right now.
Yeah,
but I can't sit here with a firm face and say all is lost.
No, it's definitely not.
You do have Dylan Stewart, you do have Brian Thomas Jr., you have JT Gear, you have Desmond Newman Zulu. You have guys that can step up, and you're gonna have that rotation. And now you look at Quay Dodd, who once again I cannot emphasize enough. Little broken ball, and then
baby freak.
Addison. So you got guys that can play, and you got guys that'll be able to step up. And I mean, I know they're gonna look to see if George misses too much time. I think they're gonna look to see if he can play next year. Get him a medical hardship and see if he can play next year. But you have a chance. You have a chance. Don't get me wrong here. You have a chance. So I am. That sucks. I'm a very big proponent of, man, this sucks. However, we gotta. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, But we'll make it through it, man. It's one of those things you gotta make it through it. I mean, that's when guy goes down the next night, you're up, man.
We'll be all
Call
right.
him up. Call him up. Q tonight was the calls with Shane Beamer, Carolina calls with Shane Beamer over at Backwoods Backstreets, excuse me, Backstreets Grill over there. And there's some comments. There's some comments that have been, talked about. One of them, Beamer is talking about who's been working at center. He talked about Nolan Hay, Rodney Newsom, and Boaz Stanley, which we all know Boaz Stanley is, man, that's the man right there. Like that is the man right there. Obviously, no update on Rizul Faison. No surprise there. They're still hoping to get an answer on depth. But I got to tell you, man, Isaiah there, the Colorado transfer, he's been turning some heads out there. I mean, they all have. Isaiah. All the guys have. All the guys have. Oscar. I mean, every single one of them. They're looking good out there. The only one I haven't heard too much about, maybe Juwan Howell, but that's not saying that he's not not showing anything. I just haven't heard much about him. That's all. I mean, they're keeping things under wraps. I will tell you this, a lot more than what they have in the past. So getting information, it's been it's pretty tough. It's been pretty tough this time around, and that's fine. I mean that's fine. That's okay. Do I miss the days we could go to the Proving Grounds queue and watch football? Oh, you best believe I do. You best believe I do being able to go to watch the Proving Grounds, watch them play football. But those days are well behind us due to social media, live streaming, and all this other stuff, man, and how you're not looking out of a grainy camera anymore when you record something on your phone. Because if you try to record at the Proving Grounds on your cell phone, 9 times out of 10, you weren't getting much except for some grainy pics or grainy video of some guy moving around, and you couldn't tell who was who. You know what I mean? So, but
That's true.
that's okay. That's okay.
That's good. I think we're gonna be good. I think, like I said, we're getting into game week, and next week will be huge. Hopefully we can get Rob on. That would be really great if we can get Rob on. That's huge. That's what we need is Rob on. Um, I think we'll try and get him on Monday. Just try and get him on Monday, and then Thursday we'll do our game week type situation and get ourselves ready to go. And while we're doing this now, as we're wrapping up, the game is now tied 2-2. The home run was hit by South Carolina, so Irmo is hanging in here. It's 2-2. Joe G, he's the second U.S. player with a multi-home run in the World Series, and so we're getting things going, man. We're getting things going. So I'm excited for the season. I'm excited for where we're going, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, tomorrow night, all eyes over there on 247 to see what happens with Darius Gray. Like I said, we feel good. We feel great. We feel great. So
real good.
Don't let that fool you. So, anyways, Q, you have anything else before we wrap it up, my guy?
That's all I got, man. That's all I got.
Very good, very good. Well, guys, we appreciate y'all tuning in live, the Welcome On Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, X, all the fun places over there. Appreciate y'all listening to the Welcome On Podcast on Apple and Spotify, the official voice of South Carolina on the Believe Network. Guys, we will see you next time.
Peace.